Well, hello. I wanted to take a moment and just talk to you about a concept about stressed plants and pest and disease. I'm just looking at these cucumber plants right here and just marveling at how healthy and how good a color and just the lack of insect pressure. There's no cucumber beetle. There's nothing. In fact, I don't know if you can pick up on it if I'm quiet a moment, but the hum of the bees that are in here pollinating right now is quite something. But what I want to explain to you is that when you have healthy, really vital, full of life plants like this, they have a high amount of carbon in their leaf. They have a higher carbon to nitrogen ratio is higher in the carbon. As a plant becomes stressed, like let's say we got a really hard frost and I tried to cover these, but it got so cold that these plants really got frost damage. What would happen is the plant would become stressed. And when it becomes stressed, what happens is the carbon nitrogen ratio in the leaf becomes more nitrogen based. And what that is that's candy to insects. And years ago, I had a garden in which we were having a really bad drought, and I had two different kinds of kale growing, and I realized the drought was so bad that I wasn't going to be able to water everything. So I made the decision to water my Toscano, my black Toscano kale, which is my favorite, and I let my red Russian kale go. I like both of them, but I really favor the Toscano. And what happened was within about a week of not watering that kale, if you would have seen it prior to me stopping the watering, it was gorgeous. It was huge. There wasn't any insect life eating on it or anything. It was just absolutely gorgeous. A week of not watering that and having those high, hot temperatures, and that kale was covered in aphids. And that was such an important lesson to me to learn, because I started to study about pest and disease, and I realized what happened was when that kale plant became stressed, its nitrogen ratio went up, and it was like a scent in the air. It was a draw to pests to come and eat it. So the reality is, if you plant your garden and everything's getting eaten by pest and disease, it's actually, like I tried to share with you in a previous video, pest and disease are not your enemy. They're an indicator of, they're a symptom of greater problems. And if your soil is so poor that your plants are so ridden with pest and disease, what it's telling you is you need to cover crop. You need to take time to build your soil and to feed those microbes and to get the plants to be vitally healthy again. That way, when you are trying to grow a crop, you're growing food that is mineral dense, and you're growing food that's truly going to nourish you or nourish the person that you're selling it to. So I want you to just catch this and realize that pest and disease, once again, they're not your enemies. They are doing what God designed them to do. They're the cleanup crew. They are composting your plant, basically. They're composting your plant and taking it down and killing it so that it can nourish the soil. And if you're year after year, if you continue not to feed your soil and your plants get worse and worse, the disease and the pests will get worse, because it's desperately trying to break it down and get it to feed the soil. So make that effort to feed the soil, make that effort to do what the soil biology needs, and after you've given, then you'll be able to take a little. And so I hope this is a blessing to you, just to understand this concept of just the need to keep your plants from being stressed and making sure that they have what they need. You know, some plants need shade if it's super hot. Some plants like the heat. Some plants need extra water. Some plants don't want so much water. So learn learn to know the species of plant you're growing, and learn to keep those plants from becoming stressed. You know, stress is the real killer. It's the real killer in human beings as well. I know people that eat super healthy and they're so stressed out about it, and they die at an early age because they're so stressed out about eating healthy. And my wife's grandmother, God bless her, she's not alive anymore, but she just laughed and laughed and laughed to a ripe old age. And she didn't have a very good lifestyle in a lot of ways in regards to her diet and smoking, but she was one of the happiest, just jolly women you would have ever met. And I really think that stress is really the factor in our plants' lives and in our lives that we need to take seriously. But if you'll attend to that and you'll learn to know your plants and know what stresses them and what makes them vitally healthy, you'll reap the benefits of it. So I hope this is a blessing. You take care. Bye-bye.